Witchblade is an action superhero drama slash thriller fantasy TV series that was released in 2001, lasting 2 seasons and 23 episodes. Despite its cancellation, the show was popular with a strong fan base. The series was based on a comic book produced by Top Cow, and these comics are pretty great. The show doesn't really take the look of the comics, and that will anger a lot of people, but I'm okay with it. I find the show to be very unique for its time. It has fantastic camera work, really good music, great action, storytelling, and character development throughout the 2 seasons. It portrays both its women and men characters as strong, likable, and relatable people. The show would even link the Witchblade to past events, like Joan of Arc, which is pretty cool. All in all, I really like the Witchblade series and actually seem to enjoy it and appreciate it even more with every watching. Now in this video, I'm going to be picking my top 5 favorite episodes of this short-lived but amazing TV series. So let's get this thing started. It starts with giving you this eerie feeling as you see a man walking through the snow at night dressed in all black carrying a trash bag with a hook for a hand. He stops and starts laying human skeleton pieces in the snow. Piss gets a mysterious call from the one-hooked man, informing her that there's been a murder in the park. Sarah and her partner discover that it was a model who had been murdered, and that her roommate had a grandmother that looks very familiar. The roommate, of course, was a girl who was supposed to be killed, and it's her employer, Dominique Boucher, who is pulling the strings. All of this ends up being connected to Kenneth Irons, Sarah, and the Witchblade. It turns out that Dominique Boucher is just a poser who tried wearing the Witchblade once before without being chosen.
The blade is not kind to pretenders.
One thing I love about Witchblade is it has multiple different types of episodes that have their own feel to it while keeping the feel of the show at the same time. And Conundrum, to me, is the first episode that does that. It feels a little darker than your typical Witchblade episode. It definitely has a creepy feel throughout. It's really a great episode with so many memorable moments. One of them for me would be at the end when Sarah and Jake go through the front door of a house and walk down this dark lit hallway with a song playing that really sets the mood. Yes, I know it's only a 30-second little scene, but the feel of it and the way it was shot is awesome. And there are so many more in this episode. I could go on forever.
Okay, Jake saw too, so I know it wasn't a vision.
You tell him, sister.
Oh, look, it's somebody's birthday. Look at the balloons and the cute little doggies on the wrapping paper. This is gonna be a nice little warm, happy episode. Wait, what are you doing? This is not how it's supposed to be. Remember, this is gonna be a happy episode. Oh my gosh!
Okay.
Sarah and the department are assigned to track the sniper, as Gabriel's friend suddenly does himself in. But Gabriel's not buying it. He believes his friend was murdered.
Someone hung him from the ceiling? I know how it looks, but Sly would have never done that.
And although Sarah doesn't agree with Gabriel at first, she starts to wonder, as it all seems to be linked back to Kenneth Irons. Nottingham eventually throws light on Gabriel's suspicions.
Mr. Irons felt that life was imitating art a bit too closely.
I guess Sarah should trust her friend's judgment just a little bit more next time. Now, for who the sniper was, well, I like the whole comic book thing tied into the episode. It's pretty cool. I mean, what's a show based on a comic book without at least one episode with comic books being part of the plot? This is also when you start to question whether you can trust Sarah's partner Jake or not. And man, Nottingham really kicks the crap out of him on this one.
I'm Gabriel Bowman, and this skull and this sword are all that's left of Sir Kilborn, and it can be yours at talismaniac.com.
Sarah and Jake are on the case as a rock star jumped out the window killing himself, or so it seems.
I'd say somebody tasered him.
Then threw him out the window.
And the strange deaths don't stop there. While all this is happening, Sarah is starting to feel like she's going a little crazy, hearing voices in her head.
Do you think that someone who hears voices is insane?
But Sarah's not the only one hearing voices. It seems this killing spree was just to lure Sarah and the Witchblade. All those poor innocent people lost their lives just so she could take the Witchblade from Sarah. That bastard. But Sarah's not going down without a fight. I like watching my heroes go through struggles, and we see Sarah go through just that in this episode. She starts to wonder if the Witchblade controls her, or if she controls the Witchblade. Or if she can even trust the Witchblade for that matter. And also the images and the voices that make her feel like she's going insane lead her to almost even selling the Witchblade. I also like these little kind of creepy scenes with Nottingham talking to himself, and this episode's got a pretty good one.
I hear you. Deep in my heart.
And this little thing that he does over the fire is pretty cool. It may seem like just a simple little scene, but it's all about feeling. How does even the smallest of scenes make you feel? And that's how I can tell whether I like something or not. And now it's time for... Did You Know? Did you know the first episode of the series was actually a made-for-TV movie simply called Witchblade? This made-for-TV film would air April 27th, 2000. It was rated the top movie of the week and would eventually lead to the TV show. That's right. 10 months later, after the made-for-TV film aired, the first episode of the series would be released on June 12th, 2001. And if you really pay attention, you can tell the movie and the first episode were filmed sometime apart. When a man that knows too much gets murdered and leaves Gabriel a message that would lead him to the information, it puts Gabriel and Sarah's life in danger. This episode is special in the Witchblade catalog. It really should be my number one. It's everything I'm into. It's John Grisham meets the X-Files meets the Witchblade. It's conspiracies, it's government secrets, it's running for your life from dangerous people who are paid to do whatever it takes to keep these truths hidden from the world. It ends up being about the conspiracy surrounding the assassination of JFK. It's crazy to think that at one point, Sarah and Gabriel held the proof of what really happened to JFK in their hands. But just like any good conspiracy story, the truth will not be revealed to the people.
Yeah. You know, they caught me, but I made it back in one piece.
Throughout the episode, Sarah is visited by a mysterious man who is always standing in the shadows.
Collusion among those who otherwise were sworn to protect us.
The man turns out to be JFK himself. And when this is revealed at the end, it makes me kind of emotionally sad, wondering what really happened to the great JFK. Or maybe I'm just a crazy person howling at the moon.
They call me Spooky.
Another reason I really like this is it's a pretty big Gabriel episode, and that means I'm all in. I love it when he gets to play a major role in the plot.
5 years ago, the average American was surreptitiously photographed 5 times a day. Now that number's up to 60 times or better.
Transcendence is the last episode of Season 1. All season, Sarah has been investigating the White Bulls, a group of police officers that play by their own rules, and are responsible for Sarah's father's death. By this point, the leader of the White Bulls, Captain Dante, has a full hunt out for Sarah. Wanted, only dead. What Sarah doesn't know yet is that the White Bulls get their orders from Kenneth Irons, who actually ordered Dante to call off the manhunt, but he refuses. For where Sarah is, well, she's out with Gabriel in an abandoned building, making a testimony tape.
Going public with this won't devalue my testimony.
No, McCarty will come through.
Suddenly, Nottingham pops up warning Sarah of danger. Dante and the White Bulls come running in, but Nottingham's warning gives Sarah and Gabriel enough time to run for their lives. And for Nottingham, well, he does exactly what I always felt he would do. Before Nottingham dies, he gives Sarah a warning.
If you ever see me again, Sarah, run.
Back at the Irons mansion, they reveal a Nottingham clone. He gives Ian number 2 orders to bring Sarah to him. Still not knowing if she can trust her partner, Sarah meets up with Jake anyways. And he tells her of a safe house they can set up a trap for Dante. There's a pretty cool moment that happens around this time, where Danny goes to Gabriel and Gabriel can actually see him, being the only one who can besides Sarah.
Trust Detective McCarty. He saved your life.
After taking out Dante, Sarah heads to Kenneth Irons' place, and this is when something happens to Jake. This made me realize how much the Jake character was growing on me. At first, I wasn't sure. Then I didn't know if he could be trusted, but by this point, I actually really started to like the Jake character. But as much as his death saddens me, it's nothing compared to the way my heart was ripped out of my chest when Gabriel ends up with the same fate. Oh, let the tears roll. No! Why? Sarah gets her revenge on Ian number 2 for killing her friends, but Irons is not done stabbing our hero in the back. Sarah draws the Witchblade, races it as a bolt of electricity comes out of the sword, spreading across the universe, reversing time, and putting Sarah in the car with Danny, a scene that's very familiar to us viewers, as it's the same scene from the Witchblade movie.
Well, you don't know what it was? Never. It must be nuts.
I love this episode. It's very intense and there's so much going on. And just like the previous episode on my list, it's got Sarah and Gabriel out on the lam together, which is obviously something I enjoy.
Look, I promise I will give you a full download just as soon as all of this is
This is never gonna be over, Sarah.
I personally like the reverse time thing, and the scene where she does it is awesome. I give this episode a 10 out of 10 on epicness. Well, that's it. My top 5 favorite Witchblade episodes. A show that people either seem to love or hate. I like the comics, and I admit, the show has a different feel and style of the comics. And like I said earlier, I'm okay with that. I still appreciate and love it for what it is. And to end it on a fun note, Gabriel Bowman is definitely my favorite character in the show.
You know, I got vampire mythology down.
See, why am I utterly unsurprised?